I don't even know how to begin this one because what happened today feels like the kind of moment you only see in movies. Before we dive into the whole story, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because you're going to want to follow every update on this emotional roller coaster. This is a story you won't forget. So, let's set the scene. It started as a normal livestream. Dylan Wang was scheduled to appear for a charity Q&A, nothing fancy, nothing dramatic. Fans were excited, the chat was moving so fast you could barely read it, and everything looked like just another day in the life of one of Asia's biggest stars. But then something shifted. His voice, his face, the way he looked down at the floor instead of the camera, you could tell immediately that something was off. And then it happened. Dylan Wang, the guy who has always been so composed, so playful, broke down in tears right there on camera. At first people thought maybe it was exhaustion. He's been working non-stop, filming dramas, traveling, appearances, the man barely sleeps. But then Shen Yue entered the frame. Quietly, without fanfare. She sat beside him, placed her hand on his, and looked straight into the camera. That's when we all realized, this wasn't a random emotional moment. This was something bigger. If you've been following these two for years, you know they're not strangers to speculation. Since Meteor Garden they've been linked by fans, media, even brands. But never, not once, had Shen Yue publicly spoken about Dylan's personal struggles. She's always been fiercely protective of his privacy. That changed today. In a trembling voice, Dylan tried to start but couldn't. You could see his eyes were red, his hands shaking slightly. And then Shen Yue spoke. She said, "I think it's time people know the truth. He's carried this for too long." The livestream went silent. You could almost feel millions of fans holding their breath through their screens. She went on to reveal something deeply personal about Dylan, not a scandal, not a publicity stunt, but a truth about who he is and what he's been through. She talked about how, behind the smiling public image, Dylan had been quietly battling anxiety and self-doubt for years. How he sometimes questioned if he deserved the love he was getting from his fans. How he often felt trapped between his public persona and his real self. As she spoke, Dylan nodded, tears streaming down his face. He wasn't embarrassed. He wasn't trying to hide. It was like you could see the weight lifting off him with every word she said. This wasn't about drama or headlines, this was about two people trusting their fans enough to let them in on something real. I don't know about you, but watching that felt like a punch to the heart. Because we see these stars as untouchable, perfect, successful, always in control. And here was Dylan, vulnerable, human, breaking that image wide open. And Shen Yue, instead of letting him drown under speculation, choosing to stand next to him and speak for him when he couldn't. That is real friendship. That is real care. And the way she said it, you could tell this wasn't rehearsed. She wasn't reading from a PR statement. Her voice cracked, she reached for his hand, she even paused to wipe his tears. It felt like a conversation you weren't supposed to see, intimate, raw, unfiltered. Fans in the comments went from confused to emotional. Thousands of messages flooded in, "We love you, Dylan. You're not alone. Thank you, Shen Yue, for protecting him." People were posting hearts, crying emojis, long paragraphs of support. You could feel the whole fandom coming together in that moment, not to gossip, but to send love. Then Dylan finally found his voice. He said, "I didn't know if I should ever talk about this, because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. I wanted to always be the happy Dylan you see on screen. But Shen told me I should be honest. So here I am. This is me." My heart literally broke and healed at the same time hearing that. He went on to explain how the pressure of fame had taken a toll on him. How he sometimes felt like he couldn't breathe under the expectations. How, during the filming of his biggest projects, there were nights he cried alone in his hotel room. Not because he wasn't grateful, but because he was exhausted from always having to be perfect. Hearing him talk like that was like peeling back a curtain. Suddenly all those photos and interviews from the last few years look different. You start to realize how much someone can hide behind a smile. And it makes you respect him even more for showing up, for working hard, for still giving his best despite everything. Shen Yue also revealed how she's been quietly supporting him behind the scenes. Late night phone calls, pep talks, making sure he eats, reminding him he's enough. She said, "People see Dylan as this strong man, but I've seen the boy who doubts himself. And I want him to know he's loved for who he is, not just for what he does." I swear, if that doesn't bring tears to your eyes, nothing will. What's so powerful about this moment is that it wasn't a scandal. It wasn't some hidden relationship being exposed or some secret child or anything tabloidy. It was a simple truth, a man struggling with his mental health and the woman who cares enough to speak up when he can't. That's it. Shen Yue ended the livestream with a gentle smile, saying, "This is not the end. This is the beginning of him healing." And that line stuck with me. Because it's true, by speaking up, by letting people in, Dylan took the first step towards healing. And he didn't do it alone. Since the livestream ended, the internet hasn't stopped buzzing. Hashtags like #WeLoveYouDylan and #ThankYouShenYue have been trending. Celebrities have been posting messages of support. Mental health advocates are praising them for using their platform to talk about something so important. This is bigger than fandom drama, this is a conversation that needed to happen. And you know what else? This moment has made me rethink how we as fans talk about celebrities. We build them up, ship them, speculate about their lives, but we forget they're human. They have insecurities, struggles, bad days just like us. Dylan's tears reminded us of that. Shen Yue's words reminded us of that. Maybe now we'll all be a little more gentle, a little more patient, a little more kind. So where do they go from here? We don't know. Maybe Dylan will take a break. Maybe Shen will keep standing by him publicly. Maybe they'll keep their bond private. Whatever happens, I think this moment will mark a turning point in both their lives and careers. And for us as fans, it's a reminder to support the person, not just the persona. I'll be honest, I cried watching that livestream. Not just because it was sad, but because it was beautiful. Because in a world obsessed with appearances, we saw something real. We saw courage. We saw compassion. And we saw two people choosing honesty over perfection. That's rare. So if you're watching this right now and you're feeling emotional, know you're not alone. This touched a lot of us. And maybe it's also a reminder for us to check on our own friends, to be our own version of Shen Yue for someone in our lives who's struggling. Because sometimes all it takes is one person saying, "You're enough to change everything." To Dylan, thank you for being brave. To Shen, thank you for being his voice when he couldn't find it. To the fans, let's keep sending love instead of judgment. That's how we build a better fandom, a better world. And to you, sitting here at the end of this video, thank you for listening. If you're still here, you're the kind of viewer who cares about more than just headlines. Don't forget to subscribe because I'll keep bringing you real updates, real stories, and honest conversations about the people we admire. This isn't the end of Dylan's story. It's just the beginning. And we're all here to see him through it.